Hi, my name's Cameron Carlson with AnimeLocation.tv. I'm here at Colossal Con 2018 with my good pal, Mr. Christopher Patton. How you doing?
I'm splendiferous.
Alrighty, now it's been a few months since the last time we got the chance to talk to you. It was at OhioCon 2018. How have you been in that short period of time?
I've been kind of crazy. What's new, right? Busy, hectic, working a lot, and then moving to Los Angeles. So I've been busy since Ohio.
Yeah. And that kind of leads into a big announcement got made since the last time we got to talk. The third season of Full Metal Panic has been announced, and it's already dubbed and up on some episodes on Funimation.com. How's it been to come back into the role?
I hate that show. Not really. No, it was really exciting when it finally. Let me just say that I knew for a long time, and I was getting so annoyed with having to keep it under my hat because every day I was getting some sort of social media question or query about are you dubbing? Will you come back? Lucy? And I'm like, So when we finally got to announce that, I was like, yes. And it was the first thing I did when I moved to Los Angeles, because it got announced right before I moved. And then I literally the day, my furniture had not even arrived at my apartment when I was recording the first episode of Full Metal Panic. So I recorded Source Connect from a studio in North Hollywood, and Mike McFarland directs me via Source Connect, which is annoying only because there's like a several second delay on everything we say back and forth to each other when he's directing me. So that's annoying, but it's good to work with him because he knows the show really well. Yeah. And it's been a lot of fun, of course, and I have such a good time revisiting that character. Yeah.
I can't wait to watch it, actually. I'm waiting.
Oh, there's so much. So much. So many things that happen. Anyway.
Alrighty. So in our last interview, you happened to talk about the anime Haikyuu, a show about volleyball. Did you learn more about the sport and how much fun it was to be in the show?
I didn't learn much at all, except for that apparently you have to be a really attractive twink to play volleyball. That's a rule. And also you have to I did learn some things.
Some technicalities on play.
Yeah, I learned that it seems like it's been forever now.
At least about 2 years.
No, it's been
since it released and subbed and dubbed via that way. Yeah, it's almost been about 2 years now.
Oh God.
You do a lot of work.
Well, season 2 just came out though a couple of months ago. Yeah. I learned what I feel so bad because my friend Caitlin Barr wrote the dub script, and she learned a lot about volleyball. I learned some new terms. I learned that there was way more to it than you learn in high school gym class. Because these guys are also. I learned how many male actors there apparently are in Houston, Texas, that I didn't even know about as a director, because that show it's a giant sausage fest. And then I learned also that I saw some of the ugliest side of the fan community that I've ever seen before.
I'm sorry to hear that.
The people who don't like the dub are so malicious.
Yeah.
They're just malicious, and I've never since the early 2000s I haven't seen this kind of vitriolic dub hatred, and I'm like, wow, it's good to know there's that much spite out in the world. But the people who love the show really love it, and I jokingly just call it the pretty boys playing volleyball show, but it's actually it's well written, and the characters are pretty rich. Yeah. I had a lot of fun with it.
It's good to hear that because, like you said, you had a good time when people were bringing you merchandise from it at OhioCon.
Today someone brought me an Oikawa jacket. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Be part of the Crows.
Yes.
All right. So going back to a show that has come back around in funniness on the internet is Ghost Stories. What was it like when you guys were recording that, knowing that you were going off the deep end on this one?
At the time, I don't think we thought much of it except we were just having fun. I think I remember thinking that it wasn't going to go anywhere, that there would be a small niche group of people that would like it and appreciate it and find it funny. And and now here we are, however many years later, and I'm doing a panel on it tonight. By the way, my Ghost Stories panel now draws more people than my 18 plus Chris Patton Shares Too Much panel draws. It is always overpacked. And it's just so funny that a show that's that old, the dub that's that old now, old, relative, it just keeps growing in popularity and it never stops. It's very strange.
Well, it's because like the generation that she and I belong to of anime fans, we're the original Toonami kids.
Right.
So we kind of grew up with that. And then now the newer Toonami kids are finding this on the internet and they're laughing their butts off at it because they don't understand, like, this was a real dub. Like, they don't believe that it's a real dub. So that's why they're laughing at it.
Yeah, like, it's weird to me now that you can see, like, kind of famous YouTubers do reactions to it and stuff. And I'm like, what? Really? Okay. And I get kind of irked by all the people saying, how is this real? Well, like, can you not tell honestly that this is recorded in a professional studio and that these are actually professional comedic actors doing this? You can sit there and try and be an edgelord and act like it's all not a real dub, but it is. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and people say, I don't know, it's still, people love this show generally and they think it's hilarious, but still some people just have to get they got to get their little job, their job in. And it's, but this takes me back to what I always say in interviews is the lesson that I try to teach people and that I try to live but don't always live is don't read the comment section. It's just not worth it. And the universe keeps teaching me that lesson over and over again. And Ghost Stories and Haikyuu are two very good examples of don't read the comment section. Although I will say at least 90% of what you read about Ghost Stories is how effing funny it is. So, that's cool.
All right. Now another old school one that I happen to like quite a bit is Razafon. And that was one of your big breakout roles back in the early years. What was it like for you to do that show? I mean, because we happened to have the chance a couple months ago to talk to John Swayze, who actually applauded you for that role in our interview. So what was it like?
Right to.
He really was. He was really down to earth about it.
Nice.
So what was it like for you to do that show? Because actually that's one of the shows that introduced me to you.
I was dorkishly obsessed with that show and that role. Like, a lot of people don't know how seriously I took that show. I remember the first day I went in to record. This was back in the day when they used to, if you were a lead, they would give you scripts ahead of time. And I had also watched the Japanese. And I knew, so I literally, like, I went in with a backpack and I wore it just the way, like, Ayato wears it, like, on screen. And I was really, like, I was keeping my mouth planted, but I was trying to, like, I was so obsessed. And it was my third lead role, but for some reason that show just kind of engendered something in me. It kind of, I had a great affinity for it. I think it was the music and all the sort of esotericism, but I was a little batty about that show, and I really enjoyed it. And I think, like, Mandy and Monica and everyone that was in it, and John and Vic and Cynthia Martinez actually turns in an amazing performance in that. It's really sad. Everyone was just all about it. Everyone was in it. You know what I mean? And that happens every now and then. There's that magic where everyone. Princess Tutu was like that as well. Yeah. Like, everyone that was in it was just, like, so obsessed with it. Yeah. So it's kind of nice when that happens,
Again, it's actually one of my favorites. I actually have the Thin Pack box set. Yeah, the one that's actually hard to find. I actually have that one.
It's a great show. I used to own the soundtrack, and I would play it every night as I went to sleep.
I have it too.
It's so good.
I know. So you now have come back to Colossal Con, which is actually for the first time.
Right.
What is it? It's a great con, and it has an indoor water park. Have you had the chance yet to experience it? And how have you thought about it? Is it no Cedar Point, though?
So they have me housed off-site. And I just got here a couple of hours ago to the Kalahari. I just did my first signing, and after this, I think what's going to happen is my handler is going to take me, like, just on sort of a mini tour of the water park, and then I'm going to go back to my room for a little bit and chill before my evening events. But So I will tell you this. I went with my partner last August. We went to Cedar Point, and I was like, oh, can we stop by the Kalahari? Because I know I'm going to be here next year. I want to just check out. So I have seen it. We kind of just did a quick run by. So I'm excited to, I'll tell you what's weird though. Already, it's early on Friday, and there are so many people here that you can hardly move. And I'm like, oh my God, so what's tomorrow going to be like? I don't know. Like insane. And
Wednesday was already bad.
that's crazy. So I'm impressed, actually. I'm impressed. And I'm excited to see what, like tonight I've got my Ghost Stories panel. And then tomorrow, of course, is Saturday. And that's the big day. I'm excited to see how it goes.
Alrighty, and now let's talk about games for a bit. You happen to join the Fire Emblem family. What's it like to be playing that and the fan response to you being in the games?
I was really nervous about, I knew, so I did Akiba's Beat in LA, and then I knew once I did that I was going to keep doing more games. And now that I live in LA, I've done even more games. I was really nervous about doing Fire Emblem though, because I thought like the fans were going to really come for me. But I remember I broke my own rule and I read the comment section. I have never visited a comment section that was specifically about a character. And like, I know, Cliff. But no, like everything they said about my performance was positive. The most negative thing was I wasn't sure when I found out Chris Patton was playing this character, but he really surprised me and he was good. I'm like, okay, I'll take that backhanded compliment. But everything was so positive, and I was like, yes, I did the Cliff thing. And now, like the past 5 conventions I've done, I sign just as much Cliff as I do like a lot of other roles. So, and I love playing Cliff because, as you know, as I've said many times, I really enjoy playing sassy twinks. It's just my vocal wheelhouse. Someone earlier asked me, Steve Bloom is here at this con. Someone earlier asked me if I'd ever done movie trailers. I'm like, no. That would be Steve Bloom's territory because he actually talks like an adult masculine male, and I talk like an angsty teenager. So I'm not going to be doing any movie trailers, but yeah, that's just where my voice sits. So Cliff is like my sweet spot, and I love playing Cliff.
Alrighty, and now we have a final set of questions for you since this is going to be one of your final interviews ever. So do you mind sticking around for those?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Chris Patton, we're back again. This is your final interview ever for a long time. So do you remember the first time we ever interviewed you all the way back in 2003 and we asked you about Razafon back then?
What con was that?
OhioCon 2003.
I do remember that convention. Yeah, I have a vague memory of that convention. Okay, just to be clear, that was back when I still drank at cons. So I don't drink anymore at all, period. But there, from like 03 to 07, I drank at conventions. I quit doing that because it's a bad look. For me, anyway. I don't care if other voice actors do it. More power. But I have vague recollections of that con. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We had a three-camera setup, and you said you wanted to make sure everyone pronounced Colossal correctly, so you went Colossal.
Oh, that sounds like something I would do, actually. Was it in the green room? Yeah, I remember that. Mm-hmm. I do remember. Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, and now another special thing that we're going to give you is we're going to give you the earn the title of being number 666 for the interviews being uploaded to YouTube. How do you feel about that?
Oh, hail Satan.
Hail Satan!
Hail Satan.
Alrighty, so how do you feel about it?
Awesome. Satanic. Please allow me to introduce myself.
A Rolling Stones reference. Awesome. So do you remember what you said to John in 2003, the year that his mom passed away? And tell us how great it was to have his mom be part of his life and be supportive and wonderful to it.
Yeah. So I can talk about this for sure. I don't know how many people. I know a lot of people know because I'm not a very private person, but I did lose my mom at the beginning of 2017, and she had always been super supportive, even when I was a screw-up jerk face, like unable to make anyway, I went through some bad periods with acting and being an artist and a crafts person and all that stuff, whatever you want to call what we do. And but a really specific thing that sticks with me is when she was in hospice. It was really rough because we didn't know when she was going to go, and I got cast in Fire Emblem. And I had to go to LA. I was in, and I remember telling her, she couldn't talk at the time, and I said, I've got to go to LA for a few days and work on this game. It's Nintendo. And she just, her face lit up, and there was no like, don't go. There was no,
please go have fun. Be yourself.
It was go do it.
Yeah.
And luckily I spent like an hour with her that night, just like holding her hand and watching her sleep. Because when I was in LA, I'll tell you, when I got back from recording Fire Emblem, she was not my mom anymore. You know what I mean? If anyone's gone through the process of losing a parent, it's horrible. But I had that moment, and so yeah, I guess. What am I saying? It was great to have. I didn't have the greatest father in the world, but I had a mother who was always super supportive of my weird pursuits. So yeah, it's important. It makes a huge difference. I do talk to some kids and young people who are trying to do this, whose parents fight them on it all the time, and I'm like, my God, how are you doing it? Because without my mom's support, I don't know, I would have floundered a lot more than I did. God help us all.
We're grateful for your mom.
Yeah, absolutely. Same.
So in 2011, John's favorite orange cat, Makoto, passed away, but we all have a love following the adventures of Jinx. Tell us about your favorite orange cat.
Oh my God. Jinx is, like, first of all, I miss him really badly right now. Jinx is a ginger tabby part Bengal. So it's weird because he's like Garfield with musculature and a really sweet face. And he's one of the nicest cats. I mean, I've had cats all my life. He's just one of the kindest cats I've ever known. And he loves people. And he's awesome. And he's all over my Instagram, yes. But now he has a little brother named Nox. And that's N-O-X like nighttime, not K-N-O-X-X like the gelatin, by the way. And Nox is a little brat. And Nox is just under a year old. And I guess my favorite thing about Nox, though, is he and Jinx wrestle. And the reason I got Nox was because I think Jinx needed a play friend, like, because I'm just dad, and I'm there and everything, but except when I go to cons. But he needed like a buddy. But so yeah, if you follow my Instagram, they're like I call them my Halloween kitties because they're orange and black. Nice. And they're Nox and Jinx. So yeah, you'll see plenty of them on my social media. I love Jinx. He's my little buddy for sure. Yeah.
So how's the response been to your roller coaster panels, and do you enjoy connecting for fans that are outside of anime that also truly love roller coasters? Like I said, I'm not a huge guy about it, but I truly do love the thrill of them when I do them.
My roller coaster panels have been, to me, surprisingly successful. Like, depending on the con, they can be very crowded, like huge. And I'm shocked. I thought when I did them that maybe 20, 30 people would show up, but I get huge crowds for them. And people ask great questions. Not only that, but at one of my panels not too long ago, a guy from one of the big YouTube channels was in the audience and apparently is a fan of mine. He raised his hand and I'm like, I recognize you. He goes, oh, I'm with Theme Park Review. They're like, I don't know what to compare them to. They're like the biggest YouTube channel if you want to go watch point of view videos and reviews on coasters and stuff. I mean, they've monetized, like that's their business. They travel the world and make great like 4K cinematic videos of coasters. And we started like bandying back and forth, and I felt like it was funny because I was up there doing the panel, but I felt like such a noob next to him because my coaster count right now is like 123. His was at 430. And I was just like, but then I had to remind myself, you get paid to travel the world and ride roller coasters, so your count should be high. But I know it's getting, people ask great questions, like the anime fans that show up, they ask, like they don't just sit there and say like, what's your favorite roller coaster? Like they'll ask that, but they'll be like, how do you feel about the fact that they installed a mid-course brake run? And I'm like, oh, you actually know, like you get it. You're a nerd. Yeah. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been kind of revealing too.
Alrighty. What roller coasters and parks are on your list for this future?
Sunday, I'm riding Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point, and I cannot wait. Steel Vengeance is going to be the #1 coaster in the world this year. I don't think it has even any close competition. Oh my God. I mean, like, you're watching the most hardcore coaster reviewers come off this thing and they're stunned. Like Taylor Bybee is this kid who runs Coaster Studios. He's about to give Theme Park Review a run for their money. He shoots great cinematic video. He gives really honest, well thought out reviews. His reaction, he came off and he said nothing phases to this kid. He's like 21 and he's ridden like 500 coasters. He goes, I don't know what just happened. I don't know what just happened. And he was stunned, and I'm like, oh my God, like I can't wait to ride it. I'm so excited. When he finally came back down to earth, he was like, I'm sorry, that's my #1 coaster. I can't even, there's no need to even think about it or talk about it. It's my #1. It's the best in the world right now, as far as I'm concerned. And people are just saying that like by the dozens. Yeah. So I'm excited. The thing I'm the most afraid of is the line, but I'm gonna stand in it, whatever it is. So yeah.
I say NBC Nightly News actually came out and did a review of it.
Of course, it's just unprecedented. When this won't mean anything to some people, but to some people it will. This coaster has 30 seconds of airtime. Whoa. That's ridiculous. Yeah. That means for 30 seconds you're floating. Yeah. Like, that's incredible. Yeah. Like, I'm so excited.
You got to do the ball test, man.
Oh, the ball test?
That's where you take a tennis ball up, and then you hold it in your hand and see it float in front of you.
Except now they put a kibosh on all that stuff because it acts as projectiles.
When it comes back down.
Yeah. Plus, on this ride, I think it'd be too vicious. This ride is relentless. I've watched all the POV. It's relentless. I'm so stoked. All right. So basically, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do Maverick, I'm going to do Millennium, and then we're going home. So, yeah.
Well, that might be a whole day for just...
No, that will be a whole day for sure. Yeah.
So, what bands do you think need to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Rock and Roll Hall of freaking Fame. Bunch of old white dudes who think they know what rock and roll is. Let's see.
Well, who do you think is the most deserving that would be up for candidation this year?
Well, the most deserving of this past crop that got in was the Cars.
Yeah. Really good.
And then there was Nina Simone. Yeah. Nina Simone. I don't know. Is Tina Turner in? Okay. And I feel like Big Mama Thornton, if she's not in, I think she should be in.
Yeah, I think they were about ready to actually credit her for the creation of it.
Yeah. And then of course me being the new waiver that I am, I know they've been nominated twice, but Depeche Mode needs to be in the Hall of Fame. Like Depeche Mode and The Cure for that matter, because those two bands kind of created, you could also argue the Smiths, but Morrissey's become such a garbage person. But I think The Cure and Depeche Mode need to be, they sort of created what would become known to later generations as the alternative sound. You know, they made that. So, yeah. That's how I feel about the Rock. I don't like the Rock Hall, just by the way.
All right. Yeah. To wrap things up,
yes.
Do you have any upcoming or current projects you want fans to know about at this time that you're allowed to talk about?
Man, I mean, literally, I don't know. I just have done 3 new things in LA, none of which can be talked about. I mean, I want people to be watching Full Metal Panic because I can talk about that, and it is something fresh I'm working on. I just did 2 games, and I'm in a new anime. I'll just say keep your eyes on Netflix this summer. And then game-wise, I just can't talk about it. So no, sorry, but I am in a lot of new stuff that's cool. That's all I can say.
Alrighty, now again, we want to follow Jinx and you and Knox. Where can we follow you guys on social media?
I'm the most active on Instagram, and it's Chris Patton again with underscores. And by the way, the reason for that stupid name is because I lost the password to my old account. So it's Chris_Patton_again. And I post all the time on there. I love it. I love Instagram just because I'm very visual and I like taking photographs. I'm not the world's greatest photographer, but I enjoy it. And I'm still,
Active on Twitter.
I'm active on Twitter, yeah. And since I'm Gen X, I still use Facebook. Especially if you want to hear me rant, go to Facebook.
Yeah.
If you want to see me be saucy, go to Twitter. And if you want to see me be visual, go to Instagram. That's the best way I can put it. Also, do I have anything else? I probably do. Yeah, I have a Tumblr that I don't use. I mean, I haven't used it in like 2 years, but I have it. Don't.
Alrighty, and what message would you like to give to the fans, knowing that this will be one of your last times ever on camera with us?
Oh my gosh. I mean, to those people that I won't see anymore, or at least for a long while, because here's what's happening. I'm for sure taking a break from like the Mid-Atlantic and the Midwest and the East Coast, probably like at least 2 years. I do have a couple of small appearances on like the West Coast and in the western half of the U.S. Beyond that, nothing really. So I guess I just want to say thanks for the ride. I know the majority of cons are in this part of the country. So it's not like I'll never be out here again, but it's going to be a while. I at least need a long break. But it's been fun, and I'm still probably more active than I've been in my career because I live in Los Angeles now. So keep looking out for stuff and follow me on all the socials. But ride a roller coaster and support independent film, and don't listen to the radio unless it's college radio. Support independent bookstores and coffee houses. And I said it before, but I'm going to say it again. When you meet someone and you go home with them with the intention of hooking up and there's no books on their bookshelves, don't sleep with them.
Alrighty, Chris. Thanks so much again, my friend, for coming out and talking with us. Thank you.
You're welcome.